What's up everyone, my name is Ben and thanks again for joining me at Wild Ride Outdoors. We're going to be doing something different. Today we are going to be working on the motorcycle. Actually, I have a 2009 Suzuki Boulevard C50T and been having issues mainly with the passenger rider and where the foot peg placement is. It's way too high and way too far back. It's almost like she's sitting on the back of a rocket, a crotch rocket. And it's just super uncomfortable for her, and she keeps sliding around, can't brace herself in well. So we got a couple different parts to try and finagle and get everything set up a little bit better for her. They kind of stopped making most aftermarket parts for this bike some years ago, so we kind of had to finagle some stuff. But let me show you what we got. First up, what I'll show you guys is these here. These are the original mounts for the rear passenger pegs. They used to have these on them, extra little bracers, but what we're going to do with these is reverse the sides of the bike that they're on, and that will actually push us forward about 1.5 inches, so that'll help us quite a bit. But these were in the way, so they had to go. Next, to go with it, we have the Capcut spline peg adapters for the Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha. Part number is 8818 in the chrome, and that's going to be our new connector for here, seeing as this one doesn't disattach from the peg. And from there, we got the Capcut 4-inch adjustable lockable offsets with the male mount adapters. Part 4557 in the chrome also. This end will attach to the floorboard, and this piece is what's going to attach to the original mounting bracket, but we have to switch out that with this one because these are about 2 centimeters wide, which is what will fit into here, and that'll give us quite a bit of adjustment. And lastly, this is what we got for our floorboards. These are the rear. Got these from Amazon. Nothing special, but they look pretty cool. I think they'll look nice on the bike. Got a little grip there. It's not great, but it should do us just fine. And we'll pull out the front floorboards. I guess these ones are 19 inches from front to back, so they're pretty large, which will be nice because I got big boots. Then we have all our parts and pieces in there for that. Now, for this, should be relatively easy. It's got a bracket that goes under here with the peg adapter that will attach into here for the rear passenger pegs. Not a big deal. For the front, it's going to be a tad bit more difficult. They don't make these for the Boulevard. They don't make much of anything for them. These are for a Harley. So it has 2 brackets here and here, which is supposed to take the loop style mount. But we're going to have to come up with a new solution and see how it goes. Hopefully we come up with something that works. First, we need to remove the circle clip from the peg mount pin. You can either use the proper pliers for this, or if you're cheap like me, pry it off with pliers and a flathead like you see me doing here. Next, we can take out the pin itself. Using a punch or a screwdriver, just push it through and it should wiggle out. Then after that's taken out, the peg should just slide out the mount itself. Alright, here's what we got with the Kiriakin spline adapter mount. We got the mount itself. We got the sleeve that goes in there, because our pin is a little bit smaller, so that'll fit in there a lot better. We got some D-ring washers. We actually have 4 of them. Take up any room for when we want to put it up and down. There's a little slack in there, so these will come in handy. Come with a couple longer threaded bolts that go into here, and you thread it in case you do not want it to go up and down. If you want it solid mount, you'll put them in there, and that'll bump into our back plate and stop it from folding up. But we were going to want ours to fold, so we won't need them. And then we got our little hex head bolt screws. I already put one in here. That one goes in there for if we have to level out our foot pedal at any point. We either tighten or back this off, and that'll straighten them out. So let's piece some stuff together and see how she wants to go. To start, we're only using 1 D-ring since it's already pretty snug with that. If eventually it breaks in and loosens up, we can add another later. If it doesn't want to line up or the shit, just use a screwdriver or something and pry around until it's where it needs to be. There's no threads or nothing to worry about, so you're fine. Alright, now that we got that through, we're going to feed our pin back through. Grab our little clip. Get that snap back on. Give the clip a quick look at to make sure it's not damaged in any way. Sometimes removal can wreck them, and just replace it if you need to. But this one looks alright, so we're just going to go with it. There. And now, she's tight, but it will flip up and flip down. That should work. On to the next one. Alright, now we have our 4-inch extenders, and we gotta take this piece off. Like I said before, that definitely would not have worked. Not without a lot of shims, and I ain't trying to deal with all that. So we gotta loosen this up. Take this out. These didn't come with screws, so make sure that this will actually thread in. Oh yeah, we're good. Alright, another quick aside, we will put some thread lock on this, but not until we get it all mounted up to the bike and all the angles that we're looking to get out of her. So slide this in here. Just get it kind of attached there so they don't fall apart. And we'll grab the next one. Alright, next we got the passenger floorboards. These are our brackets for the bottom. I should slide into place there and there. A little snug on this one. There she goes. A nice fit, so that's cool. Alright, so we got our little bolt and some thread locker, because it's always a good idea. Don't want nothing rattling apart. Give them a good cinch, not too much because you don't want to strip them. Thread locker will hold them in place just fine. So these are going to go in here. These should also flip up if I just want these to flip up. And we're going to want to figure out which way we want to actually install these. I believe this should be for the front of the bike and this should be for the rear. So this would be my left side. So this should mount up just like this so I can flip up. We're just gonna put these in here loosely for now. Again, until we find the right angle that we're going to want to completely mount them at. We have our rear passenger pegs assembled. Our brackets are assembled. We're going to need a bigger Allen wrench, I see. I don't think any of these fit, so I might have to go find another one. So the mount on the left is for the original foot peg position, and the mount on the right is from the mount from the other side of the bike. So by switching the sides of the mount, we gain quite a bit of distance. This is one of the original bolts to the mounting brackets, but now that we switched the mounting bracket side, this black plastic cover that I'm about to point out here sticks out a little further. So we got some spacers and longer bolts. What we have here is some 8mm by 1.25 by 30mm flange bolts. These are grade 5 bolts, so they're the same exact as the originals, just longer. And for the spacers, we went and got some 5/16 by 1 inch steel spacers. So those will slide in there, and we had to figure out exactly what length they needed to be. So I went and got a 1 inch spacer, and I ended up cutting it down to about 5/8 inch, and that worked all the way around. To get this mounted up quick, we have our new bolt with some thread locker, put it through the mount, then slide on the spacer, and then just get it threaded a little bit to hold her in place to get the next one in. Now we're using a 10mm socket to tighten them all down. And when the bolts are tight, you should feel them just barely protruding through the back side of the bolt hole for a perfect fit. For the left side of the bike, it mounts up to the same way, but not quite as easy. This black plastic cover will usually require some sort of modification for this to fit properly. So if you pull out on the bottom of it, and pull on the top corner of where I'm pulling on the blue, there's a pin that goes through there and just pushes through the frame. And as you can see here, I had cut a slot out with a Dremel so my mount will fit flush and the bolt holes will line up on the bike for the mount. And once it's mounted up, you can't even see it's cut. To reinstall, just push that pin through that little hole on the top of the black plastic and just pop it back in place. Quick FYI, it helps to pop the top one in, then the bottom. Now, just like the right side, get some thread locker and go to town. Next, we need to position our extenders. Now, if we go too low, we'll be hitting the pipe, so we'll go one click up from that and snug her down. Remember, no thread locker yet until we get everything properly set up. Next, we're going to remove the bolt with a 5/16 Allen head socket. Once that's taken out, you'll have your bolt and another pressure washer. Inside of there is another Allen head bolt, 1/4 inch. You loosen that to reposition the angle of the attachment piece for the floorboard. Figure out kind of where I want it and then snug her down. Next, to get this floorboard attached, I figured out that with this pressure washer, it's easier to slide that in first and then try to push in the floorboard mount to try and get it slid into position. Try and get her lined up the best you can. Sometimes lifting up on the floorboard helps. And then thread in the bolt. Absolutely be careful to not cross thread any of this. From there, repeat the steps on the other side of the bike. Make sure to adjust the left side extender bar and make sure it's the same angle and mirrors the other side of the bike, because if they are off, it will cause an uncomfortable riding experience as the bike will feel unbalanced. Tighten our floorboard with a nice little angle, and the rear should be completed. Next, for this bullshit part, I'm gonna kind of just get everything positioned around, see how she's gonna match up and fit around the crash guards, brake pedal, the other side with the shifters. We're gonna use a 1/4 inch DeWalt drill bit and get a couple holes drilled in our slots there. There she goes. She's not perfect, but it'll work for us. So we're going to use the whole old floorboard as a mounting plate. So we're going to get lined up and use our new floorboard hole as a guide. Make a little notch at the bit to figure out where our drilling position is. I'm going to go in there and push a hole through. As you can see, we don't do that whole precision thing around here. We ain't got time for that. We just gonna make it work. Next, for putting this together, we have some 1/4 by 20 by 1.5 inch flange bolts. And then we have some grade 5 1/4 by 20 flange nuts. And we're going to pop one in position just to kind of hold it so we can get our next hole marked for drilling. There is a lot of back and forth with mounting the new floorboard to mark a hole, then taking it off to finish drilling the hole. It's a lot of back and forth, but it's the easiest way I found to do it. So now that we got that second hole drilled, we're going to put these back into position so we can mark our other 2 holes that we're going to drill. For our next 2 holes, we're going to go underneath the original floorboard and just bore out some of the holes that are already there, and then just drill straight through that into the new floorboard on the top, and hopefully everything lines up alright. Here's the floorboards. I got the bolts put in them. I ground off some of the sides of the bolt heads so they fit in the slots and they'd fit in just a little bit better and a little more secure. Next, we got these 1/4 by 20 nuts that we're going to use as washer spacers because couldn't find what I actually wanted, but these will work. We're going to thread lock each one on individually, so that way there's no chance of anything wiggling or loosening up on us. So we got them on here. There's 2, 3, 2, and 4. And that lines up alright. I ended up having to take one off from each of the bolts that only had 2, so it only has 1 on each. On the original floorboard, we did have to grind some spots away so that way these nuts would fit flush with the bottom. Otherwise they would catch and kind of sit sideways. So there's some spots marked on the top. There's a knob we had to grind away underneath on the corner there. And this one actually sat alright back there. That one we ground down a little too. We eventually cleaned up and did a little polishing on the original floorboard. That way it didn't look so dingy. Looked a little nicer when it was mounted up. Here you can see where there's only 1 there and 1 there as far as those nuts go. So we're going to get this slid in. Hoping, oh, there we go. Precision fucking fit there, boys. Shit, can't believe it worked. You already know with that thread locker, just snug this shit right down. The bolts on the back side there are a little long. You can cut them off if you want, but I'm not worried about that either. Well, there she is. This side's completed. She's sitting on there real nice. You can add or remove the spacer washers to adjust it to how you want the floorboard to sit. The front of this does come pretty close to my crash guards, but it does clear and it doesn't rattle when I'm driving. Now we're gonna get this other side all mounted up, get her all snug down. And there you have it. And I think it looks fantastic. I did switch the rear floorboards around so now they match the front. As we get on the bike, it fit and feels great. The rear side of my rocker shifter fits in the swoop of that floorboard oh so nicely. I was worried it wasn't going to work, but honestly it's like it was made to fit. And just like that, we're back on the road. I want to thank you guys for joining me again at Wild Ride Outdoors. We had a good time doing this. I know it was kind of a longer video, but hoping it helped somebody out. If you're new here, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, the like, the notification bell, it'd be greatly appreciated. I'll catch you on the next one.